Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bombers Blitz on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown, and so this is my show. I want to welcome you in. I got looking at my office today, and I've got to redo it again. There's too much that I'm missing. I moved the screen, my camera, to capture everything, and then it starts bringing in stuff that I don't want it in. I know Moen had I think there's a smaller picture that would work. But again, I lose. I'd rather have my picture a little smaller than anything else. So I'm going to work on that. All right. As we're going through life, it's always good to be flexible and want to do other things. So I appreciate everybody being here with me tonight. Again, this is Bomber Splits. And I pretty much do whatever I want to. My channel, my show, I can do and say whatever I want to. And today we're going to go off a little bit about the transfer portal. We're going to talk about, and I'm going to try this. This is a new feature. This says, so let's see if it's supposed to go for 60 seconds. I'll turn it back off. If this works, then I can bust through these things. It'd be pretty cool. The 24 team, 16 team, 12 team playoff. We will play. We will talk about this evening, and then there's going to be a little bit of time. I think you'll hear me rant for a little bit. I'll bring up some news articles, with some things to sort of spur your thinking, and we'll try to get through as many of your ideas as possible. But certainly, there's topics that are out there. It's just I don't actually know every day what you guys are hot about. I started this show off about the playoff, but maybe there's other things. The transfer portal, certainly, if you're a BYU or more importantly, a Utah fan, uh, this year, this offseason has decimated your program. I don't care how positive you think about it. The losses that you've had from the coaching staff, the losses that you've had from players that you already had, and then last but not least, recently these losses of players that were supposed to be in. You had two 5-star players. I don't know if they're still 5-star the way Rivals ranks them anymore, but two of them were coming, and now only one's coming. And I would tell Utah fans to hold your breath. Uh, transfer transfer portal numbers don't help you. Just you can unregister and leave anytime. So I would hold your breath until we get to the fall and everybody's practicing to get to the fall games, because that's when you know a player's with you at least through that season. So these are cautionary tales. Um, I think what we need to learn from situations like this is uh, be careful what you wish for. You set in motion a migration plan to go from one coach to another. It's messy. It takes a little longer than you had hoped it would. At the end of the day, the previous original coach feels a little pressured, whether it was real or not. In his head, he's feeling something. So what does he do? He leaves, but he doesn't just leave. He leaves and he burns the building down as he's walking out the door. And this is a program that had grown a lot in the 25, 30 years that Kyle Whittingham had been at Utah. They've done great things, and now a lot of that stuff is gone. And I do feel bad for Utah fans. I would feel bad for if you're out there and you want to feel bad. Iowa State, Oklahoma State, programs that lose coaches. It's a freebie. Just pick. It's like you're shopping at Walmart. Come take the school that you want, to go coaches you want, come players you want, because everybody has a free out if there's a coaching change. That's why it's so important to get your coaching hires right. Thank goodness BYU's coach is right. It's going to be around for a while, hopefully. Yeah, and you have to get the right culture. Culture will keep players, but it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee. And I have a what is it? Sean L. Kurtz article that I'm going to try to get to if I have time. That describes how BYU has it been able to keep their athletes, and they retained everybody even after losing their very favorite defensive coordinator and DB coach to Michigan. BYU hasn't lost one player to Michigan. They did pick up a player, but I've been told that that player that left on his own, he had been told some things about how much playing time he's going to get, so he leaves. Michigan picks him up, which is interesting. It's like, does Michigan only know to pick up players from schools they say are far inferior to them? Isn't that funny? If Utah is so inferior, and I'm not saying they are, I'm saying to the world, if people think Utah is an inferior program, and BYU, Utah, Texas Tech, multiple Big 12 schools are certainly not inferior. No way. Then why are you stealing their players? Why steal their players if they're not worth anything? So, yeah. I don't know if we'll get to that, but I'm passionate about it. You guys know that. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. As we get going, I invite you to, in the comment section, leave your comment or suggestion. I love hearing those, and I try to get through them throughout the show. If you see somebody's sign or name and it's in green or blue, I think you guys can see that. If you can't, maybe just see the signal. I'm going to get here. Sergeant Pickles is a great example. That little S symbol next to them, that shows that they're members of the College Football Mafia family, and they have member rights. And some of those rights are you guys get access to member videos that we're doing almost every week now. And then there's special members shows that will include guests that other people don't get. And there's a few of them we have. They don't go many other places for interviews and whatnot. Those are all member benefits. So I encourage you to consider becoming a member. To do that, and next to the comment section on YouTube, just hit little dollar bill sign, and it says you can do a super chat there. I read all super chats. Super stickers are cool. They help us keep the channel growing. And then the last one is they become members, or you could gift a membership through that same thing. Give somebody else a membership anonymously, and we'll not only shout it out, but that'll give other people a chance to watch the member videos, and then maybe they'll do the same for somebody else. So, Sergeant Pickles, really quick, since I had to pick it as an example, really quick, Steelers hiring Kirk Ferentz would be very on brand. Boy, isn't that true? Iowa coach going to the Steelers. Helmets and uniforms certainly are all the same. Pittsburgh is a wonderful football city. I can't believe they ran out Mike Tomlin. And I would just tell everybody, be careful what you wish for. Just as I talked about with Utah, you be careful what you wish for. You get a new coach, and you could end up going backwards, like the Raiders do consistently, like the Browns do, like the Jets do. Just go through coach after coach after coach. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense because there's no continuity, and your program does not grow, at least maintain even. That goes for pro. That goes for college, basketball and football. So things to think about. So I will go through some member comments here at the beginning of the show. And then last but not least, I mentioned it, you can make a super chat, and I read all super chats. Those are a lot of fun. Let's see if I have any super chats yet tonight. I do not. So as soon as I get some super chats, we'll use those as well. So let's kick off the show. I have a video and some other things I'm going to go through after the comment section. So let's bust through this. And then I'm going to get to some quotes and some other news items that I wanted to talk about tonight. All right, let's start at the very top. Moen After Dark. Moen, what's up, my brother? Good to see you. Moen is always first. There you go. I can support that. Moen's always first. Buckshot Kid in the house saying, "Oh, hey, Bomber." It's good to see you, Buckshot Kid. Thank you so much for all you do for us and for your loyalty and for being a longstanding member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you. Big Lubbock is always first in my heart. Good to see you, Lubbock. Thanks so much. It's great to see you, and thanks for sticking with us. I know it's been a couple rough years in the Big 12 for appreciation, but certainly Texas Tech, and I think BYU and Utah's coming back. Sorry, my shirt is doing weird stuff. I don't know what's going on here. Are representing the whatever, Nathan. I don't know why my shirt's doing that. The Big 12's representing, but Texas Tech certainly is the pride of the table. They were this year, and We got to do something. We got to win some playoff games, though. You got to get into the playoffs to win games, though. That's my contention. Daniel Gygax, good to see you. Hi, Bomber. Daniel's a contributor and a moderator in chief. Don't piss him off. He can ban you in the comment section. Jan Holk, all the way from Slovenia. If you don't know where Slovenia is, look it up. It's in Eastern Europe, well, Central Eastern Europe. Small country, but very well rich in history, and we're very grateful that he's here. We have lots of members that watch us. We are an international show. Japan, UK, last time I counted, New Zealand, Australia, UK, Slovenia, APAC, and Europe, I think, are the two main areas. There was one day we had somebody from South America, but I haven't seen him back. Maybe there's a language barrier there. Conundrum in the house saying 2014 promise in writing or it stays at 12. Tony the Noise Petiti is calling all the shots. Get a clue, little ones. Okay. Conundrum, I don't think you're hearing that. I don't necessarily say he's running the show. Certainly he's got a lot of power and the SEC's lost some of its luster. But at the end of the day, the Big Ten is not bigger than the rest of college football. So they're going to have to negotiate and get something in there. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But yeah, there is a negotiation going on to go to 16 teams this year and then move possibly 24 teams in 3 years. I love it. I think it's a great plan. It's a good way to get to 24, but the 24 needs to be in writing. And I think we need to end up at 24. I think 24 is a perfect playoff number. But 16 would be great. Whatever it is has to be done by the 27th of January or the 29th. If they don't make any changes by then, or they don't extend their own timeline, which they could do, they could put in their own waiver and extend the timeline. But if they don't, it's going to stay at 12. Anybody who thinks that it's not going to, it's going to stay at 12 because they simply can't make a decision by then, you're a little misinformed. They can move the time down the road as many times as they want. They could kick it to August if they wanted to change the CFP. It's their clubhouse, their rules. Just right now, the limit is the 27th or 29th. I can't remember. Kay Struthers in the house. Good to have you here, Kay Struthers. Yo, it's good to have you here, man. Thank you so much. Stephen Vitt, representing the Ohio Bobcats. There we go. 5 plus 19 doesn't benefit the G6 at all. Better chance of loading the at-large bid with half of an entire conference. Stephen, I know the Big Ten really wants those AQs. I like 519. What is it? Yeah, I like 519. Maybe you and I disagree with this. My 519, you're essentially taking the top 24 teams. And if you're getting 24 teams, it should be the best 24 teams. Now, the concern is they will stack the rankings, which they have done and continue to do now. They stack the rankings to keep the G6 out. So maybe you go to 24, but 2 spots, only 2 spots are guaranteed, and they would be for the G6, and that's how you get their vote. I don't know what it looks like from that standpoint, but I think we have to get to 24. We have to get to more teams. The Big 12 this last playoff, it's not quite over, would have had 3 teams in the top 16. So it really sucks. And I think 5 in the top 25, 5 or 6 in the top 25. Why wouldn't you do that? So I'm going to disagree with you on the number not working. I think it does. I just don't know the steps to get there. We'll talk about it a little bit tonight. Sergeant Pickles, again, in the house, member for 29 months. Thank you so much, Pickles. Pickles has been a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family and somebody that helps us contribute to all the shows and ideas we do around here. Thanks for all you do for us, Pickles. 29 months, brother. We're very grateful to have you here. 16-team CFP, New York 6 becomes own 4-team mini brackets. So you have that would be so you have 4 brackets. They all play up to one final playoff semifinal. I think you go straight seeding. I don't know that you need to do the sub of the New York Six. Bowl games are just placeholders, in my opinion. You can make those games be anything. I don't know. I have to think about that one. I do understand what you're saying, but I like straight seeding, 1-16. It works in basketball. I don't know why, and FCS does 24. Why we can't make that work? I don't understand. So maybe we'll talk about it. Let's see here. Let's see. Wet Blanket in the house. Good to see you, Wet Blanket. 100. I'm so glad to see you. It's been a minute since we talked. You need to get in the comments. I want to hear from you. Let's see here. Rich Austin, the Utah Ute that's trying to make a power move to the Big Ten. He and I disagree on almost everything, but I appreciate his opinion and we'll always listen to it. Here he says, haha, worry about BYU, Nate. Regarding Utah, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. Okay. Rich, you weren't around here, but I was right for 2 years before Utah joined the Big 12. So it's a pipe dream. The Big Ten is not going to pick up any more than 2 schools. Utah is not getting away from the Big 12 unless the Big 12 and the ACC blow up. There's a best of the best, and then you pick brands. And in my opinion, if you did a best of the rest, top brands, I think Utah's in there. So Utah's going to be fine. But yeah, you can keep saying that, Rich. But ask Ute. I was right for a long time about Utah and have been. That is driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to do something about that. So, and it's an opinion channel too, Rich. So, all right. Let's see here. Mark's Holy Grail. Good to see you. He says, hi, Nate. Looking forward to hearing which of the playoff 14, 16, or 24 is the most popular in this community. Yes, we will need to do that. Let's see. Yeah. We will have to talk about Moen. If you're there, could you start a poll for me? Start a poll and run the poll. Maybe run it for a half hour or so and see what people feel is their pick for the best playoff set. If you're still watching, if not, then that's fine. Daniel, do you know how to do polls? I don't know how to do polls. Otherwise, I would do it. Let's see here. Continue down. Jason Roberts, Jansen Roberts, good to have you here, Jansen. Any format that facilitates 7-5 and 8-4 teams into the playoff is garbage. Okay. I am not. 16 does not get 7-5, 8-4 teams in. You know how many teams were 10-2? There were so many teams that were 10-2 and 9-3. That's not going to happen. Now you go to 24, you're going to necessarily have some of those, but what does it matter? People are still watching those games, Jansen. They're still watching those playoff games. And everybody needs to get it out of their head. These playoff games all need to compete like they're the NFL playoff, value. They're not. But you're still getting millions of viewers to games that otherwise people aren't watching because they're not available. Millions is more than zero. So even if it's a smaller number per game, in the long aggregate, it's going to be much, much bigger at the end of every playoff. So anyway, let's see here. Let's see. Evil Badger in the house. Hi, College Football Mafia. Good to see you, Ryan. Ryan Willie is a Wisconsin Badger, and we appreciate him being here. Thanks so much. And I think there's a super chat in here from Ryan. Let's get to this $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Ryan, for doing that for us. We can always use that money to keep the lights on. As a Packers fan, I'd like to see Tomlin as the Packers head coach. I like Mike Tomlin. I am kind of surprised his playoff record isn't better. I thought it was better than it actually is. But he's a great coach. He gets people where they need to be successful. I think it's a huge mistake the Steelers firing him. It's not always better. Grass is not always greener, everybody. Let's see here. Get to some more comments. Get to as many as we can. Ryan, thank you so much for that, by the way. Clint Moses in the house. The Oregon State Beavers. Good to have you here, Clint. Imagine what those inferior program players could blossom into with more resources and better coaching. There is no doubt in my mind, Clint, because it's been happening for decades, that just because you're not a top 8 to 10 brand in all of college football does not mean all the talent, it's there or nowhere. That's ridiculous. In fact, with NIL now, talent can be anywhere from the A4 to the G6 and all the way down to FCS if you really get a good opportunity to coach them up. The only difference is generally there's always a bigger fish, right? There's always a bigger fish, and you have to look at the top 20 brands. Generally, can get most of the players they want. Generally, there are exceptions. And then there's another group of 40 to 50 schools that have the money to pay millions in aggregate for NIL, but maybe don't have the resources to do it every year. I can't remember what state it was. Hawaii, I think. It goes to the legislature every year and asks like for $4 or $5 million for NIL money. The legislature said, yes, I will give it to you. That's legal. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means that burden's being paid by the state of Hawaii people. And how many of those would vote for the one-off tax if they had an opportunity? Who knows? But that's kind of the concern. If it's $4 million at Hawaii, what would it be in what would it be in Utah? They just are now doing a private equity deal. We don't know how much money is going to go into infrastructure there and how much that frees up for NIL. I think they end up around 20 to 25 million total. That includes the revenue sharing. That's what I would guess. Ryan might have Rich might have a different opinion about that, or Ute. I'll try to remember to ask him about it. But that number is going to go up. Is that enough? I think it is. Clint's point is true. How often has it been that we have coached up these schools? We've coached up these schools, and they've been highly effective with the players they can get, turning 3 stars into 4.5 stars. These are questions you have to answer. But I think the long run is that the coaching and players that are available are much better than they've ever been to programs that aren't in the top 8 to 10 to 20. And it's only going to get better. Just want that to sit. I think it makes a difference. I think it makes a huge difference. So then you have to make a decision. Are you willing to subsidize your university with your tax dollars? If you're at the state of Arizona, and I'm sorry, guys, this is absolutely driving me bonkers. At the state of Arizona, is it 2 years ago now? They spent almost $53 million to bail out the Arizona and Arizona State athletic departments. You heard that right. $53 million for both schools. Is that where you want your tax money going? In some places, yeah, I think people are like, yes, I want to compete. That's where I want my money to go. But the general public, let's see, I'm going to do a school bond bill, or I'm going to spend millions to bring a 4-star to my university. And that's a rental, by the way. They'll only be with you for a year. It's tough. It's really tough. And that's why it's so difficult if you don't have institutional support, finding enough big boosters that can subsidize getting NIL to the entire athletic department, basketball and football. Put it into a giant fund, collect millions of dollars, put it into a bank, and then from the dividend and the investments, you turn around and you spend that on NIL. That's where the schools that are going to be the most successful, that's what they're going to do. They're going to get blanket endowments, all athletic, They're going to go into a mutual fund, something that pays a dividend every year. They're going to take those millions of dollars and they're going to invest that into the program every year. That way, they only are doing it once. The money is paying for these players to stick around. And at the end of the day, $30 million on an endowment that might be $500 million, it's about right. Now, obviously, that's going to go up. You have to find more resources, but that's kind of what we're talking about. Okay. Anyway, a couple more shout outs. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickle says Bomber best doesn't work, as the SEC proved this year. Yeah, well, wait a second. I don't think Greg Sankey said the SEC was the best because he bitched and moaned all offseason, so he got 5 teams. I think it's now been proven that it wasn't the best. So, and every year that's going to change a little bit. But in general, I think the average of the SEC and the Big Ten getting a total of 8 schools in every year is pretty much going to become the norm. It could go 3-5, 5-3, 4-4, but it's never going to get a little less than that for these big conferences that own the playoff. By the way, Evil Badger again, and another $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate you, man. DeReal MVP, a regular commentator on Voice of College Football, is constantly saying that expanding the CFP will destroy the sport if it goes to 16 or 24. He blames the Big for trying to destroy the sport. I'm going to write this down. I've heard his name, but I've never talked to him. DeReal. And I have contacts, as everybody knows, at I have contacts at Voice of College Football. I'd love to debate that with him. I'll have to talk to Mark Rogers and try to get a hold of him. Thank you so much for the recommendation, Evil Badger. I will talk to this guy and let's have it doesn't have to be a rancorous debate, but just a discussion of why I believe my numbers are right. And I want to hear what he says about his numbers. Thanks for letting me know, though, Evil Badger. I really appreciate it. That's awesome to know. I love when people will engage. Hopefully, he doesn't take it personally. It doesn't become a fight, because I won't do that. Let's see here. Shonsky, BYU football in the house. Good to have you here, Shonsky. Indiana only has an 8% blue chip ratio. Incredible coaching job by Signetti to put players in positions to thrive. And it's been like that forever. It just doesn't happen very often in the past. Now it's going to happen more than once a generation, where you're going to have an off-brand with less overall resources to be successful. They're going to win. Now that has been flipped. The script no longer applies. And 3 years in a row now of a 24-team playoff, 12-team playoff, and no SEC champion, only Big Ten championships, and they were as far as anybody was concerned 10 years ago, Rust Belt schools that will never be successful at football. Everybody's saying the SEC is where all the players are going, and it's true. That's where they have been going. But that wheel is broken. That wheel is broken. If you're watching, Moen, I don't know if you heard me earlier, could you start a poll? And let's talk about what is the best playoff format. Ask everybody if you wouldn't mind. And then at the end of the show, help me get the totals on that. I'd appreciate it. Let's see if there's anybody else new. Hummus Hero, Ohio State Buckeye in the house. Good to have you here, man. DeReal is SEC propagandist. Okay. That explains a lot. Hummus Hero. That explains a lot. I love talking to people about this stuff. What's this? That's a lie, Bomber. You are wearing glasses, not contacts. What did I say? Sorry, it's an inside joke I missed, evidently. Okay, let's see if there's anybody else that I missed that stood out to me. I appreciate everybody giving me my kickoff primer to get the show started. These are fantastic. One more from Pickles. 24 only works with universal 9 conference games plus 10th P4 out of conference games. The reason Pickles is so into this data is because he's a data hound. This is the stuff that he's passionate about, and he's done the math on the different playoff formats, and that's why his opinion to me matters, because I know he's done the legwork in the background. So, Pickles, the off season, we need to make this another one of your projects. We need to do research, take in everybody's opinion, maybe talk to the team, and see if we can come up with a good discussion item that we could put in live shows or videos. So I'm kind of queuing you up for that. If you want to do it, you want to talk about it more, get started, engage the team, and let's get going. I'm here if you need me for anything else. Let's see if there's anything else, any others that I missed. All right, that's it. I think that's where we'll go. Thank you so much for your comments. I really, really appreciate it. Getting to the news items will, I think, be definitely a primer for kind of what our next discussion should be around. And this is, we're going to talk about the playoff, okay? So I'm gonna run some videos, or a video, and talk about an article, and then we will go through it, okay? So everybody knows. One more comment from Moen before I get started. Moen has been a free member for 2 months. I can't believe he lost it for some reason. He got it back, but he's obviously been around for 3 years anyway. Big Ten will be fine with a 5-11. Just meet Tony P's asking price, not a 2014. That's a red herring. I let's just go to the reporting. Let's go to the reporting. That way, it's not my opinion you're hearing, and it's not Moen's opinion. Let's get to an actual video. Okay, so this was on Get Up on ESPN, and I'm going to have to be careful. I'm going to run it for 30 seconds, then I'll pause it and run it again for 30 seconds. Here's the link to the video. This is Get Up, and this is Heather Dinich, somebody that a lot of people respect. Certainly, her opinion is out there when it comes to the CFP, and certainly an SEC propagandist. Yeah, let's just go from here and play this, and then we'll talk about it. Let's go.
To be clear, the SEC wants to expand to 16 teams. The Big Ten wants to expand to 24 teams. I'm just making sure that I'm clear on that. And so they'll only agree to the 16 if the SEC will eventually expand to the 24. And those two, the other thing I'm reading from what you're saying is those two are kind of deciding this, and everyone else will do whatever they say. Is that an appropriate way to look at this?
Okay, before I get to her answer, can everybody see the preloaded way that he has put that question? He's already preloaded it with the two conferences that have majority voting power for the CFP, and that's the Big Ten and the SEC. Everybody else goes along with it. So as far as the SEC or the CFP is concerned, they're really only courting 2 conferences. Now, they need the others to not be birds under the saddle. They can't just have them out there chirping about how disingenuous it is and how we're getting screwed and these other things. It can't be that way. And the reason it can't be that way is because they need their positivity to be included. It's not a P2 world yet. While they have voting control of the CFP, it's also a PR exercise. So they need the G6. They need the ACC and the Big 12. Because that unanimity really matters to them. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. All right, here we go.
You nailed it, because the Big Ten and the SEC have the bulk of control over their future format. Why is that? Well, everyone agreed to a memorandum of understanding, and the Power Four champions are going to be in the college football playoff along with a group of 5. And Notre Dame, as long as it finishes in the top 12, is going to be in. So you've got this give and take. You've got these protections for the Power Four conference champions, Notre Dame and the group of 5, in exchange for, okay, Big Ten, SEC, you guys have the money, the power, the most teams in the college football playoff historically. You get the decision. But it's a group effort.
But it's a group effort. So at the end of this, and I'll let her finish, at the end of this, it's going to be very paternalistic. Like, we'll take care of you guys. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Everybody else is going to be involved. It'll be fine. Very mom and dad talking down to the kids. right? Okay, let's finish this thing.
Power 4 commissioners have been talking multiple times leading up to this. Everyone knows where everyone stands. But the Big Ten and SEC have to agree. And yes, the Big Ten wants 24 teams with automatic qualifiers, without automatic qualifiers, however they can get to it. But Greg Sankey at this point is not ready to commit to that 2 or 3 years down the road. But I'm telling you, Greeny, there are people in that room who would at least consider a 24 team playoff. People are thinking about that. That is a real conversation.
If everybody remembers, when this idea first came up, I can't remember if we invented the idea. Probably not. That would be pretty vain. But when we first started talking about playoff formats, when the channel started 3 years ago now, more is better, in my opinion. I think you was with me on that. By the time we brought in Moen, that was the end of the year, full time. We brought in Moen. I'm not sure if we talked about playoff format till the next year. So let's just roll it up and say 2 years ago, when we were talking about college football playoff formats, we talked about everything from 8 to 32. Anything past 32 is kind of silly. And the reason I say it's silly is because it's not basketball. So you can't go 5 rounds deep. There were already 4 rounds if you go to 24. Going to 32, you not only extend the calendar, but you also are still giving some teams a bye. 16 from a very just format perspective is so easy, right? 16 is so easy, and it's easy because you straight seed everybody, show up and play ball. If you go to 24, you can do things like reseeding. If you go to 24, you have the first 2 rounds of games on campus. If you go to 24, a lot more advertisements, but also a lot more TV exposure, right? Not necessarily a good thing because you're competing against the NFL. So I like 24 now, and I'm glad that it's circled back and we've gotten here. But we were laughed at. Whenever it was brought up, most people just looked at us and we said, no, it's not really practical, right? 24 was something we talked about because we knew the FCS was doing it that way and it was working. It has worked for a very long time. So why can't it work for big time college football? I think it can. I think the bowls can be worked into these games for the playoff. And the first round of games, you could have the Weed Eater Bowl be the first home game for the 9th seed. You can do that. That's stuff you can do. We would have to extend some time before they burn through the contracts for these bowl games, or the CFP just pays them out and they walk away from them and they redo it at these other sites. Either way, nothing is fixed. Everything can be modified and changed. Now, one thing that Heather says here that I think is maybe they're conflating things, and both her and Greeny are saying the same thing. 16 to 24 teams, they're not talking about the conferences. Guys, they're talking about the playoff, okay? I saw some comments online saying, wait, the Big Ten wants to go to 24 teams? No, that's not what's happening here, no matter what Rich Austin says. Big Ten's not expanding. In fact, if they expand the playoff, in my opinion, there's no reason to expand conferences. I think it ends. Conference realignment can end, disappear, and the advantages that the Big Ten and SEC have could be baked in. They don't have to bring in more schools to be strong and to have access to the playoff. You can still get your 6 teams in. SEC, Big Ten, just assume they get 6 teams in. Yeah, there's some 7-5, 8-4 teams in there. But that's top 24 anyway. You're already watching those games, week 9, 10, 11, 12. You're watching those games already because they're all essentially first, second, third, fourth round playoff games. These are eliminator games at the end of the season. So this is all great and everything, but something that's not addressed, and I'll get to an article from Sports Business. What is it? Sports Business Daily. Anyway, I just lost my thought. Okay, let me just move the article. All right, let's see here. So let me get the link. Where's the link for this? Is it here? Control C. All right, here's the next thing. Here's the next thing. All right, we go the Sports Business Journal. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, let's bring this up here. This one, right? And we'll go share this tab. Here we go. So this is an article I just posted the link to. Sports Business Journal. Report strong support for 16-team CFP if Big Ten SEC can agree on format. And it was addressed here in the comments as well. The SEC prefers to not go to 24. Let's just say that out loud. They have a dominance right now. They would prefer to keep that dominance. So going to 24 doesn't necessarily help the SEC, but it does help everybody else, in my opinion. So it's all negotiable. All this negotiable. Oh, I know what I was going to say. The one thing about what Greeny and Heather Dinich were saying is that this all has to be done by the end of January, and that's not true. They can kick that timeline down the road, and they can continue to negotiate the playoff format for months. Okay, so just so we're very clear on that. Okay, so here we go. Report strong support for 16-team CFP if Big Ten SEC can agree on format. And it reads, there's strong support for a 16-team CFP format to begin as early as 2026. If Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey can reach a specific compromise. There is a stalemate between the two power brokers right here. There's a stalemate between the two power brokers, meaning that even with a majority in favor of change, the playoff could remain at 12 next season. This is what I was trying to get to. The timeline is January 3rd, but this is the date that can be moved. Okay? It's a date only in a dotted line case. If they want to continue to negotiate, they can move that date down the road. Let's see. They are expected right here. They are expected, if I could grab that, expected to discuss two models, 16-team field that includes 5 conference champions and 11 large teams, and another format with 24 teams. To go to 24 teams, in my opinion, you don't have to have AQs unless you want to have an AQ for the G6, AQ or 2. Other than that, I think you just take the top 23 teams or whatever. And then if it doesn't work after 1 year, you find out that it's being front-loaded, then the world stands up on their chair. They get very, very upset, and they rebel, and that goes out to the public sphere. And if you don't think they pay attention to PR, you're crazy. But I digress. Petitti and Sankey have the bulk of the 2026 format and beyond. Can't come to an agreement by the deadline. Stays at 12 teams. The Big Ten wants to use this leverage to eventually lock in a field with at least 24 teams with or without automatic qualifiers. So the Big Ten, now Moen says it's a red herring that the Big Ten is actually asking for that. They're using 24 as leverage to get something else, and that may be true. But I don't think they would waste this much energy on a 24-team field if they weren't taking it extremely seriously. That's my opinion. Let's see. CFP leaders have become more open to the idea of a 24-team field, but there is a sense among many that it's too significant of a leap to make at this point. So I'll remove that. That's Sports Business Journal. I want to give credit. I posted the link in the comments as I'm going through my monologue here. So what do you guys think about that? Moen, did you do a poll? Moen, can you do a poll for me? How many teams do people like for a CFP? I'm going to ask you again. I know you're hanging out there. These are things that I think we have to sort through. We have to get to, right? But yeah, it's just at the end of the day, if there's anything in college football that we can talk about that we know for certain, it's change. Change is always coming. Let's see here. I posted the Sports Business Journal. I played that. And that's a different topic. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think, huh? "24, 16, 12, what do you guys want?" Now, if you're fans of this channel, generally I'm gonna think you're more open to other ideas. I'm just gonna say that out loud. I think you're more apt to be flexible and say, "Hey, maybe we do have more. Maybe we do have more." But do you have to? Do we have to expand? I think we do. I think we need to expand. 12 screws out too many good teams. 2 years in a row. Too many good teams. 2 years in a row, we're going to have a champion that wasn't in the top 2 all season long. Indiana and Miami got to the top 2, but they didn't start there. Indiana climbed to, 3 during the season, but then lost. Sorry, not Indiana. I meant Miami. So if you have a 9 seed coming through and winning the whole thing, doesn't that scream for more participation? I think it does. I think it screams for more participation. That's why I think there's pressure to go to 16. As early as or as late as October, November last year, 2 months ago, we were bemoaning the fact that everybody was saying we might not get anything past 12 ever. It might stay at 12 forever. What changed? Well, what changed is the playoff. And what happened? The SEC loses out again. That's with 5 teams. So if the SEC can't win with 5 teams, who's to say they're going to win with 7? There's no guarantee. But I will tell you this, the more seats you have at the table, the more plates you have filled with food, the better the opportunity is for your conference and schools to win a championship. Maybe it was Vanderbilt this year for the SEC. Who knows, right? But we don't know that because those teams don't get in right now. 2 years in a row, the SEC feels like they got screwed. Obviously, I do not believe that. 2 years ago, they did not deserve more than the 3 they got. They would have gotten 5 or 6 if it was 16 teams. Hopefully, it was only 5, but probably 6. They'll try to do that again. They'll try to get 9. The only way that we can get to a point where we hold the SEC off, and I'm not trying to be negative against the SEC. They have every right to defend their opinions, but I don't think it's good for college football. I really don't. I don't think it's good for college football to have one conference and 12 or 16 teams get 7, 8, 9 of the entries. No way. That cannot be good. Moen After Dark, here we go. $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Moen. 16 teams, 5 plus 11, and the first 4 out, SEC and first 4 out of the Big Ten, face off against each other in bowl season with entertaining bowl matchups like Pop-Tart Bowl. Iowa and Vandy and Tennessee, Illinois were great. Yeah, okay, Moen. Moen's a believer in the theory of scheduling alliances between the Big Ten and the SEC. I just don't think we're there. I don't think there's a need for it anymore. I don't think so. 16 teams is the bare minimum, in my opinion. But Moen, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I very much appreciate you. For everything Moen does around here, setting our shows up and everything else. Thank you, Moen. I appreciate it. Bulldog Mississippi says agreed. Maybe he's agreeing with Moen. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll call it that. I mean, there's all kinds of ideas. You expanded 24. There are myriad of ideas that people will like. 1,000 different ideas we can put in place. Conundrum says conference champs and runner-ups are guaranteed one of the 24 teams, 24 spots. I'm okay with the A4 all getting 2 in automatically. The reason that hasn't already happened is because those stupid conference championship games. They make too much money, and the conferences don't want to walk away from them. I think cutting off your nose to spite your face, though. You can make so much more in an expanded playoff. That's my opinion. Mark's Holy Grail, Yormark and Phillips better make sure they get 2 AQs in the 16-team first. They blew it before, and their 2 conferences paid for it last year, paid for it the last 2 years, Mark, and I agree with you 100%. They do. They do. If they go to 16, 5-11 is not good. So will Brett Yormark screw it up again? Probably. Everybody knows that I was a Brett Yormark for 18 months, 2 years. I have been an apostle for his moves for the Big 12. No longer. I'm a lot more jaded about the way he's running the Big 12 and certainly about their advertising and PR or lack thereof. Haven't really done a ton for my school. And if your school is getting screwed or not getting the appearance it needs from the Big 12, you have every right to be upset too. You don't have to be a mute and just accept him because that's all we have. Don't need to do that. Certainly I don't have to do that when I'm at the helm. Mark's Holy Grail, another one. I hate to be the Debbie Downer on your 24, but you would need to cancel all conference championship games. That's a tough sell for the SEC to swallow. I think it's tough for all the conferences. They don't want to lose that. They have to look at the larger picture. Where are they going to make more money, Mark? And unfortunately, I don't have it. Bob Thompson. We're going to have Bob Thompson on this channel in 2.5 weeks. And Bob this is one of the questions I'm going to ask. What's the payout in his estimation, his experience? Which is bigger, 4 more playoff games or 1 conference championship game? Oh, I would say it depends. It might not always be better one way or the other. I think it does depend who's playing. I think, again, I go from my personal experience. BYU has been showing out massive numbers of viewers to games that they participate in. I believe that will continue. A lot like what happened with Indiana and how they've gone into the social media sphere and really started representing their school, spending money, escalating prices for the final game. I think it's in the 3,000s now, maybe 4,000s for a seat at the championship game, maybe even more. I think you have schools that are just latent. They're waiting just for the opportunity. You get them in, and you're going to see those numbers escalate and jump massively. I think Utah would do the same thing. There's several schools in the Big 12, I think, that would do that. But 1 game for the SEC, in my opinion, 4 games replacing 1 game in the SEC would be more worth it, in my opinion. You get more money from a CFP that way. I could be wrong. I don't have it in front of me, and I'm not the guy who has that number, but I'm asked Bob. I'm just giving you my opinion on that. Oh, Moen is mad at me. Damn it, Nate. The poll is up. I can't see it, Moen. I'm sorry. I don't have that window up. I apologize. Don't get mad at me. I appreciate you putting it up. Thank you very much. Moen's always ahead. I just didn't know if he actually had done it because I didn't see an alert or anything. I don't have the main window up, so I apologize, Moen, if that upset you. I didn't mean to do that. Let's see here. Jose. Oh, I owe Jose and Trent Brown. I haven't done it. I just have not gotten out the door to send them my swag. Dang it. I apologize, Jose. I'll try to get out the door this week. I've just not left the house very much for a while. So I will do that. But Jose says, AQs and computers only way to eliminate the biased committee that goes by brands. No doubt, Jose, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think we need to get back to a BCS type system, but I think it needs to be reworked. The current BCS or the old BCS model is missing a bunch of current stuff that I think we would need to adapt to put into the new system. So we'll have to see. But I like computers more than committees generally. I'm at now. I just think we need to be very flexible on whatever that format is, and that format needs to be dyed-in-the-wool math, and everybody agrees to it. That's what I think needs to happen. Is it needs to be a published formula. Get rid of all the gray areas, no black boxes in the voting. Everybody knows what they have to do to compete. Everybody knows everything that's measured, because you know what will happen? The smart programs will adapt and coach and configure their programs to be successful in whatever that format is. If it's more points, if you need to score more points for glory points, that will tell everybody to pile it on in games that they're in the lead. If scoring isn't so weighted and defensive numbers have more weight, you might see scores go lower, because it's better to hold a team down than it is to score 1,000 points. That's my personal favorite. I prefer the defensive part, but these are all things that need to be published, and they're not. And it's all done on that stupid committee room, and it's the worst. Whatever we have now is the absolute worst, okay? Jose also says, your mark is too busy slurping on Sankey to care what's best for the Big 12. I don't understand the your mark love for the SEC. I am disillusioned with the Big 12 leadership right now. Completely disillusioned. Let's see here. Moen, why don't you 16 team wins in a 30-minute poll? Okay, there we go. Thank you, Moen. So Moen did a timer for 30 minutes, did a poll. Thank you so much, Moen, for doing that. He says 16 team wins. So this is the data itself. Which CFP format is Mafia's best? 6, baby. 52% say 24 all day. 24 say stay at 12, and 14 something else, 10. Poll complete, 29 votes. Only 20 of you people, 29 of you voted? All right. Well, 16 is 52%. 24 is 24. 12 is 14. Sorry, I said that wrong. 16, okay. I just don't think that's enough. I just don't think that's Moen's giving me oh, by the way, Mafia Pimp Bomber. If you want to log in, Moen, and play the Sounders, you're welcome to do that. I'm not against that at all. Okay, so that's kind of where we are tonight. I wanted to make sure we covered it. It is a problem that we need to solve, the playoff format. What would you prefer, 12, 16, or 24? Whatever we have, we just need more participation. And if AQs are where it needs to be, AQs are fine. But I can't see doing more than 2 AQs a conference. You don't need them. You go to 24, a guaranteed 2 is literally your conference didn't even have one team that won 9 games. If you go to 24, you're going to have more than 2 teams in. So if you go to 16 now, two AQs makes a ton of sense for the A4, and then 1 for the G6. That's my opinion. So I want to thank everybody for being here and participating. Skaven, yes, checking in. Go Big Red. I just got here. Skaven, where you been, man? I miss you. Skaven's another member of the College Football Mafia family. I appreciate that. Okay, let me get to one more news item. Sorry, let me drink here for a second. And then I'm going to get to call-ins tonight. So let me get to one more article. Mafia Pimp Bomber, new members only emoji of Nate in his work attire. I don't know what it looks like because I can't see it. It must be very good, though. I must look really good. Right here, yes to Town Hawk. I was just saying that. Yeah, I'm going to take calls. Let me get to one more article, and then we are going to take phone calls, which I know is the thing you guys appreciate the most, right? Let me do this. Okay. Here's the last thing, and this is Ross Dellinger, and I have done something to screw up my view here. I don't know what it is. Why does this do this? Anyway, whatever. If I do this, does it go away? It does, but the window continues to stay shrunken. I don't know. I did something wrong. This is from Ross Dellinger. Let me get the link because we always give credit where credit's due. This is an article, and it's about the CSC. Does everybody remember what the CSC is? Huh? The CSC, the NIL Go, it's the portal stuff. Right now, the CSC is trying to institute rules for fairness that states are not signing, specifically states like Texas and I think Florida, states that are generally conservative, don't want to sign away their rights to arbitration, their rights to countersue, don't want to give away their autonomy. And before I read this, let me put it in context. Why does this matter, you say? Why does it matter? Just sign the stupid thing and everybody's under the same rules. It matters because these enforcement rules and steps were not in the original agreement. They're trying to end run adding enforcement to something that nobody voted for a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. And we're all supposed to sit back and, yes, we agree. It was negotiated over a period of 3 years, the House agreement. Enforcement was only casually addressed. So why all of a sudden are we giving everybody now a veto power to go in and change it when the reason it wasn't in the original agreement is because they couldn't have gotten the agreement signed? If anybody knows history, you guys know I love history, without making adjustments, there's no way the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights get approved by all 13 colonies. Never happens. The South voted against their own interest in a lot of things, and the Northeast voted against their interest in a lot of things to bind all these states together. So they pass it in a very generic form, and then later they amend it. And the amendment part is what was the most difficult part of setting up this government that we have in the United States. Without those amendments, without agreement to further change, we never get to where we are now. And you could say it's flawed and we have issues, but it's much better than anything else in the world. And I've been all over the world. Even Scandinavia, the United States is still the best. So this is what's happening with the CSC, NIL Go, and enforcement for NIL. They did a general agreement and it was agreed to. Everybody said, yeah, let's go with what we've got. But the enforcement arm was not delineated. It gave general outlines and it says, we will be setting these things up, but none of the enforcement was put in it. Now the CSC, months later, after it's been passed and people have moved down the road, they found out that they had no enforcement. The CSC, NIL Go, Deloitte started measuring stuff, but they had no way to enforce any rules. So they sent out guidance 3 times this last season. And the last guidance they sent out, again, if you remember, the last guidance they sent out said, by the way, you need to sign this, and was sent to every school that signed on to the original agreement, the P5. So that's everybody in Oregon State and Washington State. Everybody agreed to it. Since you agreed to it, now you also have to agree to these things. And schools in states like Texas are saying, in Florida, no. We're not going to give away our rights. We're not going to sign against our interest. If you want to have something like this, we need to negotiate it. It needs to be another amendment to the original rules. You can't just come along and claim the power. You can try. I'm surprised it took them this long. There were other things that I didn't. The CSC House settlement thing was the bare minimum that could bare maximum that could be passed. If they would have tried to claim more responsibility, it never would have been authorized. The CSC NIL Go Deloitte thing would never, the House settlement would never have got really going if they had added all the constraints, because people look at it and are like, wait a second, no, I don't want to do this. So what they're doing, and I'm going to get into this article next, they demonize schools and states that say we're not going to agree to this. And that what do? They put it out into the public sphere that they're the ones doing the wrong thing. It's their fault. They're the ones who want to extend their schools cheating in NIL. And that may be true. That the main reason is it's about this states' rights deal and giving away your rights to basically run your own school and the way you want to compete at things. And the CSC is doing a money power grab. Anybody who says otherwise doesn't understand all context. And anybody who says otherwise hasn't looked into the how we got here first before we get to the bitch and moan because my school can't sign a 5-star because they all go to schools that have money. So I posted this, I think. Let me post it one more time. This is the article, Ross Dellinger. Let's just get to it. More university leaders publicly encouraging their colleagues to sign a CSC participation agreement, this time in the form of a joint letter from presidents, and these are the schools, and this tells you why. Virginia Tech, Georgia, Arizona, and Washington. Now, Georgia kind of surprises me a little bit because they're generally a more conservative state, but the others tend to be more liberal states. And I'm not talking about from conservative liberal perspective. I'm talking about from a way you look at states' rights and the way money is handled in government. The other states are leaning generally one way, and in doing so, they color all of their decisions. So let's be very clear. This is a statement, just like if your neighbor walked out in the front yard, put up a sign and says, I support my neighbor to let me cross his lawn every day without recourse, and my car can park on his parking lot, and we share everything. He can come to my house and park too. I'm okay to share my stuff, but he didn't tell me I could have it. I'm making a rule, making a declaration on my yard, and here's my sign. Here, I'm declaring it tomorrow. I'm going to park on your driveway. That's what's going on here. The CSE is trying to put up the sign in the front yard, and while I'm here, I can also park in your driveway. So let's read these. The following is a joint statement. Together, the presidents represent each of the Power 4 athletic conferences. College athletics has reached an inflection point. This is very true, and it didn't just reach it. We've been here for a while now. For years, campus leaders and athletic directors have acknowledged, both quietly and out loud, that the existing model for organized competition, distributing revenue, and supporting student athletes simply does not work any longer. I don't disagree, particularly with the ramifications of name, image, and likeness, revenue sharing, and the other terms of the new House settlement. Many constituents are experiencing confusion, frustration, and growing uncertainty. I would add to the end of that, in parentheses, jealousy. I would add at the end of this, in the parentheses, we cannot compete with money, with either big boosters or state legislatures. We cannot come up with enough money to be competitive in college football right now. And that's not a criticism. It's a simple statement of fact. There's ways to get money. Ask Utah. They leveraged everything to get private capital, private equity in there so they can compete. It might take that for every school. The House settlement and other recent changes have shifted the framework for college sports, but new rules without clear enforcement mechanisms lack credibility. The minute the House agreement was signed, that's probably the first or second thing I said about the whole thing. In fact, I've been saying it before it was even approved. There is no enforcement mechanism, and there's no enforcement mechanism primarily because the players have no representation. Let's see here. lack credibility, inconsistency across institutions, erodes trust, creating uncertainty that ultimately that ultimately harms the very people this enterprise exists to serve. Our student athletes. Isn't that funny? Our student athletes. That cracks me up. When was the last time we had a real student athlete situation in college sports? Let's say college football. It's been a while, everybody. It's been a while. The university participant agreement shared by the CSC addresses these problems and provides a collective path forward for the future of college athletics. It requires, they put that in quotes, participating universities to support CSC's standards implementing the House settlement, including NIL reporting, revenue sharing compliance, monitoring, audits, and enforcement. Okay, so I'm going to read that again because that's really what we're talking about here. And I could do a whole video on this, and maybe I will, Mo, in one time. Bulldog Mississippi's taking off. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate you. Thanks for being a member. Really appreciate you for that. Let's read that last sentence. It requires participating universities to support. It requires to support. What doesn't it say? It requires by law. It requires by rule. It requires by agreement. It doesn't say that. It requires to support, meaning whatever we claim, you have to support us, or else we're going to kill you in the PR, which is what they're trying to do right now. At its core, the agreement asks institutions to do something simple but essential. Play by the rules we have collectively committed to, accept accountability when we fall short. This paragraph cracks me up. And resolve disputes through the agreed upon process rather than prolonging costly litigation that fuels confusion and inequity. Stability is not created by new rules alone, but by a willingness to live by them. So these two paragraphs are really the whole thing. CSC's begging. Give us the authority to do all these things. Give us the authority. We don't have it because we didn't agree to it in the original agreement. We didn't vote for those enforcement mechanisms. We're just now putting them in place. And now we want you to agree in retrospect. In exchange for access to CSC platforms and services. So this cracks me up. This is what we'll give you back. This is a negotiation. You do what we tell you to do, and in return, we will let you look at our data so you know kind of where the money is going. Really? That's the only thing that you can give back? You're asking for a lot. You're not giving a lot back. Participating institutions accept clear oversight and enforcement, including investigation authority, penalties, and binding neutral arbitration. Please, please, please. I'm going to continue to say that over and over. Please, please, please. The NCAA is constantly begging Congress. CSC is basically begging here. Begging for authority to do what should have been painted in the original agreement and wasn't, because they couldn't have gotten it passed in the first place if they did. A couple more. The participant agreement is not perfect, but it does provide a viable or visible mechanism to turn the House settlement from principle into practice. So everybody following my storyline here? Principle into practice. These rules were not in place for the original agreement. They're trying to, close the door to the barn shed, the barn after the horses run away. It's too late. You've loosed this thing on the world, and now you have no way to enforce it. That's on you. You can't blame Texas Tech for that. You can't blame Bo Diddley Tech in Idaho for that. You can only point to yourself for that. How about this? How about take responsibility? Say, we screwed up. We didn't get this done. Let's rebuild it and let's do it right. No, nobody wants to do that because it's almost impossible to get something, which is what people have been saying forever. Greg Flugar, he's somebody that I respect so much. You guys know that. But he's always said he prefers a flawed mechanism that gets approved, which is what happened with House. A flawed system, any system that's, even if it's flawed, is better than no system at all. And my opinion, was and is and will continue to be, that's not enough. I think you can say now that at least with the CSC guidance, what we didn't have before with the House settlement is there wasn't a question where the money was going. Everybody knew the money was going to the bigger schools and brands. Everybody knew it. There wasn't a gray area. There wasn't this idea that there's somebody gatekeeping and really backing us up. Nobody's doing that. While the NCAA regulations and terms of the settlement continue to govern in college athletics, the agreement adds an essential layer of accountability, requiring universities to manage the actions of their employees and affiliates. It provides clarity, consistency, and enforceability in a moment when the enterprise urgently needs all three. Again, you just put in here, please, 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 over and over and over again. I'm going to make a graphic now. I have one for the NCAA. Now I have to do one for the CSC, where it's just a guy on his knees saying, please, please, please. Begging on the altar. For institutions, the agreement establishes a more level playing field grounded in shared expectations rather than individual interpretation. For student athletes, it reinforces transparency and fairness. For the public, it signals that intercollegiate athletics is capable of reform, self-governance, and responsibility. I'm only reading all this because to me, this entire statement is just a bunch of gobbledygook. The entire thing is saying, please, please, please. Some may feel the agreement moves too quickly, but we don't have the luxury of waiting for perfection. The responsibility, this is what Greg's idea was, letting perfection get in the way of application. The responsibility of leadership compels us to recognize when the cost of inaction outweighs the discomfort of progress. College athletics has long been one of higher education's most visible expressions of teamwork, discipline, and shared purpose. This moment calls for those same values from our institution's leaders. We encourage our fellow presidents to sign the participate agreement, blah, 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 blah. We owe our students better, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm going to just say what everybody should have been saying all along. All of that is nonsense to me. I think it's all white noise. I don't see a reason that it makes any sense. At all. I don't get it. They should have done it right at the beginning. It frustrates me they didn't do it right at the beginning. I'm not willing to settle for half measures because it's better to have no measures than half measures, in my opinion. Everybody can agree to disagree. I'm sure a lot of you disagree with what I'm saying. I'm just trying to paint the full picture, and that's something I promised you I would do when I started the channel. Right? If you're new and you're watching right now, this is what I try to do, and this is what my team tries to do. We try to bring up points. We put our opinions in them, certainly. Right? You could have had the rant thing going that whole time I was talking. But in doing so, we also try to back it up with the reason we got to that opinion. And in this case, my opinion wasn't made today when this article was put out. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. My opinion was made 2 years ago. And then this last year, when the CSC was actually built and put together, a lot of rules without any enforcement does nobody any good. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of millions of dollars, in my opinion. I am not okay to settle for half measures. I'm not going to let perfection get in the way of the good, but there has to be an in-between, and right now there isn't. It wasn't a good faith negotiation. I don't believe that the G6 schools had any representation, which they didn't. So I don't think their opinions are being heard at all, and I think they should be. And I think the way that it's currently configured, that everybody now has access to the same talent. You see what Indiana does. They don't have a top 20 recruiting team, and they are boat racing everybody. I think Miami's going to give them a good game, maybe the best game they could have had all season long. But Indiana is a monster, and it's because of culture. It's because of fantastic eye for talent, Kurt Signetti and his coaching staff. And it's because of chutzpah. They feel they're feeling their groove right now. Indiana has earned everything they've gotten, and I'm not okay with people coming in saying the only reason they've gotten it is because they had an X advantage here, they had X advantage here. I'm not okay with that. I've always been with my fandom has always been a little on the defensive side. Being a BYU fan, being a Seattle Seahawks fan, I've always had that sort of chip on my shoulder, and that kinds of it colors my opinions in these things. I don't like what they're doing or trying to do. This power grab really pisses me off, actually, because I think we're just wasting time. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take your calls now, but I just want everybody to know it matters a lot to me how everything works. It matters a lot to me how we actually get from here to there. And I'm not okay with just skipping steps and then turning around saying, oh, wait, we need to paper over these holes. No, I'm not okay with that. Let's do it right. Let's take the time. Let's do a CBA for players. Let's get player representation. Let's get laws in place that don't give the NCAA or the CSC unlimited powers from antitrust lawsuits. Exemptions is not what they need to be successful. Giving them more power without any accountability on their side would be a disaster for college football. And I will tell you this right now, college football will cease to exist. Even if you don't like it right now, there is a worse picture. The worst picture would be is if we gave college football and the CSC their antitrust exemptions, they will roll everything back. And we'll go back to a place where Indiana has no chance to win a national championship. And Indiana is a placeholder for 60 schools. No chance. Right now, teams have a chance to compete. So, all right, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I will talk about whatever you want to talk about. I want to appreciate everybody being with me. It's 20 after 7 my time, so 20 after 9. We're going to go about a half hour, 45 minutes. Please keep your comments short and concise. I'll maybe ask you a question or two. I appreciate when everybody calls in. It's always a lot of fun. I'd love hearing from you. But if you are a troll or somebody that needs to be gone, I do watch the comment section. These people are smarter than you are. They're smarter than me are. If they can smell a shyster talking, I will dump you if you do bad things. So, all right, let's do that. I'm going to turn on my phones. Hopefully this works. Audio's on. I got my page on. Hopefully technology works for me. Okay, you can call me right now, 801-899-6203. Call me right now and let's talk. I want to talk about what you want to talk about. I want to appreciate and thank everybody for being with us tonight. While I'm waiting for people to call in, I will go through more comments. Let's see if there's any super chats I've missed. 16 teams. I don't know if I got to this, but I'm going to read it anyway. 16 team, 5+11, and the first 4 out. Yeah. Face off against each other. So I already did that for Moen. Scheduling alliances and bowl alliances. I just don't see it. 801-899-6203. If you call in and cannot get through, please let me know in the comment section. Sometimes technology does fail me. So it is possible something's going wrong. I can't call it while I'm on it. So, but please call in 801-899-6203. I'm tired of talking. If nobody calls in, that's totally cool too. No new super chats. We'll cut the show short, and I'll give you guys some time back to your evening. But I hope people call because that's why I do these shows. BYU football, Shonsky. The Power 5 at the time of the suit got off easy, and they know it. They need this to work, or the lawsuit could reopen billions of dollars involved. Maybe. Shonsky, I mean, I know that's what Greg has said. I'm not sure if that's actually true. Something is out there now they can build off of. They just need to spend the time and money and time to do it right. And they don't want to. They want to short circuit it, do it quickly, easy. And I don't like that. So maybe that happens. We'll know, but time will tell. But thanks for saying that. He also says college football has never been fair. If I said fair, fair isn't really in my vocabulary. If I said fair, it was a misnomer. I didn't mean to say that. There is no fair in life. Life is not fair. It sounds silly, but that's what I've told my kids my whole life. And there is no fair, unfortunately. It's a world you go out and make or you don't make, but that's on you. Bribe, Thank you for being here, Bri Bay. Welcome to the channel. I'm not sure if I've seen you before. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, leave a comment or question, hit the subscribe button. Let me do a quick primer while you're there. Everybody, if you're watching and you're on X right now, open up another window on YouTube, go to College Football Mafia, hit that subscribe button while you're there, hit the thumbs up. You can leave comments from X if you're watching. Just go to the live feed window after you click on the video, and you should be able to leave. I do read those comments when I get them on X. Otherwise, do me a big favor and jump over to YouTube, College Football Mafia, and hit the subscribe button. We're constantly trying to add more people. Bri Bay, thank you so much for calling. I'll read this right now. 8 teams is all you need. Greed is changing the sport too much. Very valid point. I think 8 is, we could have easily had 8 on there as an option. I just patently disagree. I want more schools in. Has nothing to do with greed, even though it would turn out to be more money than they're currently getting. For me, it's about access. And if there's anything that's been proven the last 2 years, you don't have to be in the top 5 or blue blood to compete for a national championship. And we need more of that, not less. We need more Indianas and less Ohio States. The more people you bring in, the more exposure you get, the more money you will get in your next contract. So that's where I'm at personally. But I appreciate your comment. Thanks for being here, Bri Bay. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Let's see here. Bulldog Mississippi says, have a good evening, Mafia. Oh yeah, I said that earlier. Gotta go watch basketball game. Thank you so much for being here, Bulldog. I know you've already long and gone, but thanks for your comment. I really appreciate seeing you tonight. Buckshot Kid, another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. That little sign next to his name shows he is, so I always give special attention to those comments. If it goes to 24, I would like to see 4 G6 champions get a home game in the first round. It sounds fun, Buckshot Kid. I just don't think that will happen. I don't think there's any part of the A4, certainly not of the Big Ten and the SEC, that want to give pretty much anything more than they're currently getting to the G6. Now, they may do that in a negotiation to get to 24. They may say, we'll give you one more guaranteed spot. And I could see that. I could see that happening. But is it likely? I don't think so. How I think you get in is you earn your way in. This year, Tulane got up into the top 24. They would have been in. I'm not sure where everybody else was ranked at the end of the year. Tulane definitely would have been in. You take the top 24, pretty much you're going to get representation from every A4 conference. Maybe less than we currently might appreciate. I don't know. Time would tell. But we get more than we're currently getting. And those opportunities would lead to more wins for conferences and maybe even G6. G6 just has to be good. Go out and win 13 games. I know it sucks, but Buckshot Kid, it sucks to say that. But yeah, those would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. If we had that for some reason. Conundrum, just sign this blank check and I'll take care of the rest. Yeah, that's exactly right. Conundrum has it right. Conundrum has it right. The CSC didn't get it up front. They're trying to get it on the backside. And in the process, they're claiming as much ground as they can get so that later they can withstand lawsuits and withstand pushback. Well said, Conundrum. You and I don't always see eye to eye, but that comment is perfect. Stephen Vitt, BYU football. I would only support playing games if there were consequences involved. Losing teams are automatically out of CFP talks. Playing games, championship games, I know they are money makers. It's a given. I'm not naive to the fact that championship games make money. Playing games would make money. In my opinion, you would get more money for your conference from a college football playoff that's expanded than having one championship game for your conference. I know, call me crazy. Even more than you would make from 2 play-in games. 3-6, 4-5. Is that right? Expanding the playoff will bring in so much more money. Unlimited amounts of money. Almost. It'll be crazy. The play-in games, look, the college football playoff has play-in game, has these championship games. Basketball has championship games, and I think it was Sampson, right? Coach at Houston last year. He's like, we play 20 games in our conference. Why do we need a championship game at the end of the season before we go to the NCAA? Well, they do it for money. Everybody says, why do you have it? You used to have to qualify that. You play well in your conference championship game, you'll get more spots in the NCAA tournament. That's not the case anymore. Money has changed everything in college sports, and that's another one where it's really, really changed. It's changed so much that those conference playoffs are really, they're exhibitions. They are exhibitions. Does Houston need to go out and win their conference championship game to get a 1 seed? No. They don't. So what are we doing? They're exhibitions. So what's the purpose of the championship tournament? It doesn't matter. At the end of the year, you can celebrate that, I guess, if you want to. Everybody wants the big ticket. Everybody wants the Final Four. So I think we're getting to a point where these play-in games and conference tournaments, while they make money, there's other ways to make more money. They just have to be very creative, in my opinion. Moen says Nate has an ankle monitor and can't leave the house. Maybe that's true. I just don't like leaving the house. How about that? I should do it, but I have. Let's go.
Call from
Town Hawk.
The Town Hawk. Nobody's wanted to call in tonight, so I appreciate you helping me out.
Sure. Hey, Nate, I haven't talked to you since before the holiday, man. I hope you had a really, really good celebration on the season, and I hope everything's going well for you at the start of the year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You too. You and your family. Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, this is off to great and running.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah, man. Well, I saw you guys are talking about, well, a couple of things tonight. The tournament size, number one, and the other thing was I really want to talk about is the way they're going to do my idea for a formula.
Okay.
I agree. Something like the BCS. I thought the most reasonable way to do it would be to get all 10 conference commissioners together, or those 10 plus Notre Dame's guy.
Right. Yep.
You go into a room. You say, okay, we're going to vote on which statistics are going to be included in the formula. Go through a round of votes. Throw out the high, throw out the low. You get your winners in the middle. Okay, those are your statistics. Then you go, okay, now everybody weight them. What do you want? 40% on strength of schedule, 10% on record, 10% on weak losses. You know, all that. Same thing. You get all 11 scores, and then you do Olympic style. Toss out the high score, toss out the low score, and then take the 9 in the middle and average them out.
Okay.
And that gives you your weighted formula. Boom, we're off and running, and everybody will understand it. Everybody will know what they have to do to score and manipulate, change their strength of schedule, or if they need to score 50 points on their conference opponent, they know exactly what they have to do.
Yes.
Now, is that perfect? No. Is it fair? I'd say it's a whole lot closer to fair than what's going on now. That's for sure.
I'll let you take a breather there for a second. I would just say everything you just said, I agree with. I think whatever it is, and Jeff Fuller, I'm a big fan of Jeff Fuller. He's the real statistician when it comes to certainly BYU and Big 12, and then the overall CFP. And he's proven it in more than one example. There are very valuable ratings that can be used to create a unified BCS type formula. And I agree with you that I think it should be approved by everybody. It should be something that is published. Every AI engine and every chat GTP article should be able to tell the world what that formula is, and then everybody can do whatever they need to meet those expectations. What is the reason they haven't already done that?
Control.
Okay.
Manipulation.
Yeah.
That rhymes with CSPN.
Yeah, it's true. Everything you're saying is right. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, they have zero intention of having some fair way of going about it that's out of their control, when they can just sit up there and, you know, pounce on their narrative and say, hey, Kirby, talk about strength of record for the next 57 weeks in a row.
Yes.
That's just the way it is, because they want as many teams that they can get in, and they push their brand, and then they think they can maximize their value.
You could not be more accurate, and I think that more and more people are starting to see that. Will there be change? One thing we know is that ESPN is not walking away from their college football playoff shows. The only way they can have those shows is if they have a committee, and they have a contract that runs through, I think it's 2030, 31, or 32, that says they have to do those shows, and they make so many people watch those shows that are stupid, but it makes ESPN money. So I don't think it's going to be anytime soon that we walk away from the committees, unfortunately.
Probably not. I mean, you know, they have slots on that they have to fill time-wise too. You know?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I think they're finding out their political shows aren't the way they're going to maximize the ratings, but people talk about sports all the time because, you know what, we all love sports.
We do, and that's why we have shows like this, so people have an opportunity to voice their concerns. Really quick before I let you go, what's your thoughts on this new CSC guidance that they're trying to backload and do a backdoor power grab?
Well, I think you brought up a couple of interesting points, especially, you know, what's the payment structure for oversight? What's the payment structure to Deloitte for how they evaluate the deals? Those are all, you know, things that I don't think I've ever heard anybody give an answer about.
Yeah.
And you bring up the point there that, okay, well, you're just going to hand us the keys. Well, anytime somebody says, hey, we have a contract, but you're just going to go ahead and give us this, this, and this without things being defined, well, call me gullible, but I think that's going to wind up being a bad deal for somebody. And if that's the case, it's just a way to scoop more money away from the players and put it in the pockets of people who you know, they're going to grab what they can grab while they can grab it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's well said. Well, thanks for calling again. Happy New Year to you and your family. Thanks for calling in,
You too,
and we will catch you hopefully next week.
Okay, I'll be
right.
here next Tuesday. Or are you doing Wednesdays?
No, today's Tuesday, right? I try to do Tuesdays. Yeah.
You did Wednesday last week.
I did. Yeah, we did that because of the holiday and trying to get stuff over.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Thank you very
I'm
much.
back on
Appreciate
Tuesday
you.
schedule. All right, buddy.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later. All right. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Town Hawk in the house.
Call from
Caden the Diesel Freak.
Caden the Diesel Freak. How you doing today, my man?
Nathan, it's your favorite resident Ohio State Buckeye and vocal Ohio State Buckeye. How you doing tonight, bud?
You know, we're getting by. Things are sort of flowing along. It's interesting to see kind of what's going on out in the sports world right now, but I think we're doing okay. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year. And I'm in a little bit of a better mood than I was last week.
That's very understandable.
The The only reason I'm saying that, Nate, is because Ohio State's defensive recruiting in the transfer portal and the freshmen that are coming in, I am going to say this to Mo now loud and clear. Watch our defense come back stronger than they have before last year and absolutely beat the brakes off of everybody this upcoming season. Guaranteed it. I am telling you, Nathan. I mean, Matt Patricia staying in Columbus, and then let alone, we're getting a lot of linebackers and a lot of our missing positions. But also we're getting, second-year guys. We're getting first-year guys coming in from Alabama, Wisconsin. We're getting guys coming in because this is a program that the defensive coordinator has built this defense on to be, elite. I mean, that's what our university is known for is an elite defense. So I'm pretty proud of my Ohio State Buckeyes, and I will say this honestly. Excuse me there. I thought about birthday for a second. Watch out for the Ohio State University Buckeyes.
Okay.
Write that down, ladies and gentlemen, because our defense is going to come back a lot tougher, a lot more physical, and they're going to come back hitting hard. I guarantee you, losing to Miami, that's when you pulled the grenade, little grenade pin, and that grenade exploded. And I'm just going to tell you all now, Ohio State's defense is going to be more dangerous, more physical. They're going to be up to front, and they're going to be well-oiled. So I'm just warning college football, there might be a number one defense returning to claim a national championship. So just giving everybody the warning and the heads up.
I appreciate that, Caden. I'm trying to get a few calls in tonight. Is there anything else you want to say really quick before I cut you loose?
Just that, subscribe to College Football Mafia. Videos. Nathan is one of the greatest people here at the College Football Mafia Bombers Blitz. And obviously hosting the Mo and After Dark show with Mo, and one of my favorite Ohio State Buckeye fans on the planet with Rock and Rant, a really well-respected Miami Hurricanes fan. By the way, I do follow him on Twitter and Mo on Twitter. But you know what, Miami, I am praying that y'all win the national championship this year because I want to see Ohio State, Miami, round 3 national championship. Y'all know we're going to come back to that title. That title belongs in the 614. And that's a fact, Nathan.
Okay.
Reminder.
Reminder.
We've been defending national champions for a year and didn't lose to a single opponent until we lost to Indiana. Ohio State. I'm calling my shot now, and I'm calling it down the middle like I see it. So appreciate you, Nathan, as always.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later, sir.
All right, you too, Caden. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. We'll see you later.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye. He is Caden the Diesel Freak. Thank you so much for calling in. We have gone past my self-imposed time, so if you guys want, I can keep reading comments, but I guess we'll go a few more minutes. If you guys want me to stick around, it'll probably have to be super chat comments because I've got all the others that I'm going to use marked. So if you want your comment to be read, make it a super chat going forward, or I'll take calls until calls quit coming. And if calls quit coming in 8 minutes, then I will pop the show at that point. So let's get to some comments while we wait for either phone calls or more super chats. Call me in right now, 801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. Call me right now. I'd love to talk to you. Okay. Clint Moses, again, Oregon State Beaver in the house. In basketball, regular season, regular season is greater than conference tournament. I agree with you, Clint. But conference tourney is useful to get players into the mindset of back-to-back games, single elimination. That's a reasonable contention. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I just think they're money grabs at this point. If Kelvin Sampson at the University of Houston, if he's saying, why do we play all these games and then we turn around and have to play a conference tournament? Why isn't it the team who wins the most games during the season is the conference champion, right? I mean, you win a 3-day tournament and that makes you the conference champion, even though you might have lost 6 games, for instance, in a conference like the Big 12. I do think that's stupid. So, but yeah, good points, Clint. I appreciate it. It's great to see you tonight. Anthony Monzano, good to have you here, Anthony. Read your comment in just a second.
Call from
Mark.
Mark's Holy Grail. How are you doing, man?
Great, Nathan. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for calling in.
Good. I know it's towards the end of your show. You did plenty of reading our comments and stuff, but I thought I'd take the chance just to debate and discuss your 24 first 8 games versus the conference championships, if we could. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and set the table.
All right. So 2 things. One, I'm not defending it. I'm just kind of just telling you my opinion, like you always say. But if you take out the conference championship games, this is the way I look at it, and I think some of the other conference commissioners will too. You're going to take away 10 conferences that have championship games. So you're taking away 10 games, and many of those games are games that would be higher rated than some of the, I think, would be higher rated than a first playoff game with some of the lower teams in teams ranked 20 and below. For instance, the Ohio State-Indiana game is one of the highest rated ever. When you have the SEC, they're highest rated. When you had BYU, Texas Tech, those are highest rated. So you're getting rid of all those for your first round. So that's just my first point. I'm just telling you that you're taking those away so you can get the Tulanes and the other people to play. That's my first point. My second one is that because of the realignment, which we're both against, almost all your viewers are, they can't all play each other. So now that you have 16 or 17 or 18 in our conferences, you need the conference championship game if you, like some of us old school guys, believe that a conference championship means anything at all.
Yeah.
And then so you get to play them. You wouldn't have Ohio State, Indiana, or some of these others if you don't have a conference championship. So you're not only taking away those games and substituting with others, you're kind of robbing people of a matchup they wouldn't get. So I'm just saying it's more than just money, even though they were highly rated, everything else. And then my other thing is that, again, there's still probably some of us old school people, you and I, as we know, are closer up in age, but you don't, it's kind of like NCAA March Madness when you're building up. So you go through your regular season, you go through your rivalries, you get to play. The ones that are the best go to their conference championship. And then if you win, this CFP is not doing a good job. But if you win, you're going to, get a bye or you're going to get something else, right? And you keep moving up. And it means that the actual games in your conferences mean something. So I know there's 2 sides to every story, but I just wanted to let you know there is a lot of sacrifice by having the 24 and taking away, you're basically, because a lot of people say that in general, well, you're taking away from the regular season. And I don't think they're doing it justice when they say you're taking away the conference championship game. And my last one to you is they make so much money in just to the conferences. When you go in the CFP, the Big Ten and the SEC, they have to share the money of those first games. Like all the tickets of every CFP game, that's going to the CFP. When it's the SEC Big Ten SEC Conference Championship and the Big Ten Conference Championship, they get all that money to themselves.
Yes.
So I'm just telling you, again, I'm not siding and not saying it's great for competition, great for watching, but we know whenever we're looking for change with someone as greedy and selfish as the Big Ten and the SEC, and they want as much money as they can, and they have all the ratings, it's going to be hard for them to go. And then I'll leave you with this, and then obviously listen to you here as I've been listening the whole time, is that we really have to, there's a play going on here. If you don't have AQs, then we're going to go backwards, as you read in my comment. We're going to go backwards into the committee having too much. They have to go together. I think Greg Pflugar talked about the same thing. If they're going to go to 16 or they're going to go to 24, they can only do it if they're going to have AQs. Otherwise, you've mentioned it many times, they're going to have 8 to 10 SEC teams in here.
Right.
Anyway.
Don't go yet. So,
I'm here.
let's talk about a couple of your points really quick. I want to be very clear. the play-in conference championship games, I really don't care if you have them or not, but the teams that go through that extra stretch, they're playing an extra game. So the only way that I can see that where you keep those conference or even play-in games going is you do AQs. Then you have the semifinals and finals that play into those AQ spots. And or you go to 24 and all the teams that play in those championship games get a first round bye. The first round is 16 teams, 8 teams have a first round bye, and then the teams that played in those conference championship games, they're all in that second round, and they then take the teams that played the first week, and that offsets the 1 week of playing an extra game.
Exactly, and it's so doable. There's a way to do it, and actually that's what would work best because we know the Power Four all had great conference championship games, right?
They did. This year they did good. Yeah.
So they should just, instead of waiting a month, they should just wait 3 weeks, right? And then let the other 8 have it. And it could. I'm just saying, there's ways it could happen. And I just wanted to give the 2 minutes of saying, A, it's going to be hard to convince these people in control to give up money, and 2 is, I really think that because we don't get, I'm a UFC alumni, as you know, and I like the schools. I don't get to play. We joined the conference, but we don't get to play Ohio State and Michigan and Indiana every year, and neither does the SEC. You in the Big 12, you get to play almost everybody, but without a conference championship game, you're not building up to win anything during the regular season.
Yeah.
So it still is a big draw for a lot of us, and then that game is so huge. It's the highest rated SEC game in the Big Ten. Those are some of the highest rated of the year. So again, that if they could have it, so the season was earlier and you know what I mean, everything could happen. But again, 24, I'm afraid you're going to even go later in the season too. I'm afraid the way it is now, they're going to go later than where they have it now.
Everything should be week 0 and there's only 1 bye. If you did that
would
then
take away some weeks.
Then that would end at the end of at New Year's. If they did that, but they would have to move a week back, start in August, and in some places like Arizona, that's difficult because of the weather and everything else. So these are all challenges, but as a project manager my whole life, challenges are things that you look at as opportunities and not barriers. And if everybody just changes their mindset and say, these are the 5 things that we have challenges with these things, how do we, sort of do better and get around them? There are solutions. We just have to be willing to look outside the box.
Yeah, and then they have to figure out, because in this whole thing, there's never going to be something where 80% ever going to be popular. It's going to be 60-40.
Yes,
like you
that's
and I,
right.
24, I'm 16. But then what is going to be the borderline? The borderline's got to be, well, both Nathan and Mark believe it's got to at least be 16. They can't go back to 12.
Yes.
That's what I'm just saying. You can't. I guarantee you that it's less than 10% that want to stay at 12. And if you take Notre Dame and BYU just from this year, even though people are pissed at Notre Dame, they go, yeah, why not have at least 2? And then you put Texas and Vanderbilt. Why didn't we have them? We have to at least have that. So I'm hoping that these guys will be smart in the end. But I just wanted to take a minute. You took a couple extra minutes and tell you why I think there's a little downside more than people think about having 24 and getting rid of conference championship games. That's all.
That's right. I agree with you 100%. Now, and this will be the last word. I think people need to understand that all negotiations are give and take. There's never a 100% win in a negotiation. So unless there's leverage that sort of off puts the normal balance, but 60-40 I think is about right. I think if we can get 60% of the people to agree with what's going on, if we let the perfect get in the way of the good, we're going to have real problems.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, Nate, good show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, Nathan.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. He is Mark in the house. Thank you so much. USC fan. I was going to ask him about the CSC thing, but that would have taken us another 10 minutes. And I'm not sure you guys want to hear me for another 10 minutes. One last call for phone calls, 801-899-6203. I will talk to you now if you call me. Otherwise, I'm going to just take another 90 seconds to get to cover a couple other comments I marked earlier, and then I'm going to get out of here. So let's get to a couple we got here. Anthony Manzano, before when I got that last call, I wanted to get to this. Can what you see with the NCAA tournament work where you have multiple regions? Yes. In fact, I know this is crazy, but in my opinion, the best playoff system doesn't involve the conferences at all. We go back to regional scheduling, and you play in your region. You do travel across the country, but not near as much as you do now with these coast-to-coast conferences. You don't have to change your conferences at all, but the scheduling for the playoff can be regional. Yeah, we can do that, Anthony. And I think we do it for basketball, so why not do it for football? There's ways. We just have to – there's ways, everybody. Don't get so stuck on your opinions that you're not flexible. There are solutions. We just have to – everybody gives a little. Daniel Gygax. Got to go, Nate. Reminder, I have 2 shorts up. So everybody, if you go to the shorts section on the College Football Mafia main page, hit that tab. It's right in the middle of the page. You will see Daniel Gygax, 2 new videos. He puts out one every Sunday, asks good questions, a bit of a 60 minutes wrap-up type of a comment. Get you thinking, engage. So I want to encourage everybody to watch those shows. Daniel Gygax on the College Football Mafia short section of the channel. Thank you so much, Daniel, for being here tonight. Another couple Bulls fan, USF. You guys, oh man, I feel so bad for USF last year. Ran out of juice. Had a great early season, ran out of juice at the end. I felt bad for the USF Bulls, but it's great to have you here, and we always love having your comments. Thanks for being here tonight. Mr. Ed Wayner, that's easy. Mr. Ed's in the house. I missed his comments. Good to see you, Ed. That's easy. You keep winning a conference. Important if they make it where the conference champ gets a bye and second round home playoff game. Yeah, you can do that. If you go to 2 AQs, the first one would be whoever wins the conference. The second one would be from a battle between 2 and 3. And both of those teams make it to the playoff. You can do that. There are solutions. Guys, we can't let the perfect get in the way of the good. There are solutions out there. As frustrating as it is for me with the CSC stuff, I also need to say out loud, we can't let the perfect get in the way of the good, but it needs to be a negotiation. Nothing is good without a negotiation. And I'm going to leave with Mr. Ed Wayner's last comment, and then I'm going to get out of here. Mr. Ed says, if you expand to 24 CFP, how do you keep winning a conference important? We just talked about it. You could do that with the 1 AQ gets into that second round bye, and that would be everybody that's in the second round would be the first 8 seeds into the playoff, and that would be your top 5, and there's ways to do that. But 24, first 2 rounds of the playoff are on campus, and the first round is all straight seeding. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to end. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Appreciate all the comments, super chats, new members. Thank you all for all your hard work. I appreciate you. I want to recommend everybody look forward to Moen's next confidential show. Dropping this week. I don't know the topic, but he's been putting out some good ones. You have to be a member to watch those videos. So I would encourage everybody to subscribe, become a member, new member of the College Football Mafia family. To do that, hit the dollar bill next to the comment sign and follow the instructions, or you can gift memberships if you're already a member. We thank everybody to do that. I will see everybody on Friday, our Big Freaking Friday show. We will be doing the college football playoff final preview. Miami versus Indiana. I don't know. It's like we're in Back to the Future, the second one, where they travel back and you see who's in the Super Bowl and who's in the who wins the baseball championships. I think it might have been the Mariners winning the MLB. It's fun to look at opportunities to do those things. But we need to qualify to get to those places in the future. And right now we are still so far mixed up. I don't know what to say about it. But anyway, thank you to all the members, all the new people watching me tonight. Thank you for all your hard work. I want you guys to check out all of our member videos and the non-member video or just regular videos that we have. Realignment, college football base, rules and regulations, everything we say around here, we try to base it in facts. And I'll encourage everybody to get involved. Hit that thumbs up on the comments. Leave us a comment or question. That all helps us with the logarithm. And consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. If you're watching this recording, you can also contribute a super chat. You can do that even if it's a recording. Just hit that dollar bill on the comment section. I believe super chats are still enabled. So I want to encourage everybody to think about doing that too. Everybody have a great night. I'm going to say go Hawks. Seahawks this weekend playing the 49ers. It's going to be the playoff for the NFC Championship. It's going to be Seattle playing San Francisco this weekend. It's going to be Seattle playing the Rams next weekend. Book it. Rams are going to beat the Bears. I'm sorry, but that's just going to happen. I appreciate everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay out of trouble, or week. Stay out of trouble, and we will see you Friday night. Go Hawks. Go Cougs. Cougs eating it up in the transfer portal. That's something I'm going to cover next week. Is it better to have a big transfer portal, or is it better to keep your team on campus? In my opinion, it's keeping your team around is more important. We'll talk about it next week. Thank you so much. We'll also talk about the championship game next week. Thanks for everybody, all your hard work, everything you do for us at the College Football Mafia, and thanks for listening to me tonight. I'm going to say peace out, and give your friends and neighbors and family big hugs for me. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.